"Sell me these roses in Arabic and I'll pay you $100,000, the millionaire mocked, then frozen. In a crowded street market, a young flower seller stood under the blazing sun, holding a small basket of roses, her only hope for the day. She spoke little English but greeted every passerby with a shy smile. Suddenly, a sleek black car stopped nearby. Out stepped a millionaire in an expensive suit, surrounded by his friends. They laughed as they saw the girl struggling to sell her flowers. With arrogance dripping from his voice, the millionaire said, "Sell me these roses in Arabic, and I'll pay you $100,000. His friends roared with laughter, certain she would fail. But what happened next silenced the entire crowd. Because when she opened her mouth, the words she spoke weren't just in Arabic. They carried a story that would change his life forever. The millionaire, named Daniel, was known across the city for his wealth and ego. He loved to humiliate people he saw as beneath him. It gave him a sense of power. That morning, he had come to the old market just to show off his new luxury car to his friends. When he saw the young flower girl, barely 16, her clothes faded and hands rough from labor, he smirked. "Hey, little girl," he called out. "How much for the roses?" The girl, named Amina, lowered her eyes. $5, sir," she said softly. Daniel turned to his friends. $5? Tell you what, if she can sell me these in Arabic, I'll pay her 100,000, he said with mock seriousness. Everyone burst out laughing. To them, it was a joke, a poor girl, probably uneducated, being asked to speak a language she clearly didn't know. Amina clutched her basket tighter. Her heart pounded. She had been insulted before, but this one felt different. Amina looked up, her eyes meeting Daniel's. There was no fear now, only quiet dignity. "You want Arabic?" she said softly. "Let me tell you something in my mother's tongue." Her voice changed. With a calm grace, she began to speak, not in broken sentences, but in flawless, poetic Arabic. The words rolled like music through the market, verses about flowers, beauty, and the fragility of wealth. The shoppers nearby paused. Her tone was steady, her accent perfect. Even Daniel's laughter faded. When she finished, she handed him a rose and said, "The beauty of a rose fades, just like pride, but kindness blooms forever." Daniel stood frozen. His friends stared in disbelief. The girl's Arabic was not only perfect, it was the kind spoken in classical poetry. Where did you learn that?" he stammered. Amina smiled faintly. "My father was a professor of Arabic literature," she said, "before the war took everything. Before we came here." Suddenly, Daniel felt a lump in his throat. His arrogance drained away. He had just mocked the daughter of a scholar, a man who once taught in a prestigious university before life reduced them to poverty. Amina continued, her eyes full of pain and pride. "He used to say, words can feed the soul even when there's no food for the stomach." Daniel lowered his gaze. For the first time, he saw not a poor girl, but a survivor. Someone who carried dignity where he had only carried pride. His friends stood silent, ashamed of their laughter. Daniel reached into his wallet, pulled out a thick stack of cash, and tried to hand it to her. But Amina shook her head. "I don't need your money," she said quietly. "Just buy the flowers and promise me you'll never mock another person for their struggle." Her calm refusal hit him harder than any insult could have. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. Her words echoed in his mind, "Kindness blooms forever." He thought about how easily he had looked down on others, forgetting the times when he himself had nothing. The next morning, Daniel returned to the market, but the girl was gone. He asked around only to learn that Amina and her mother had moved away to find better work. He felt a strange emptiness, a void that no luxury could fill. Determined to make things right, he began funding language and education programs for refugee children in the city. In Amina's name, the Rose Project, he called it. It became his mission to help those who had lost everything rebuild their lives. Years later, at an international education conference, Daniel listened as a young woman stepped on stage to give a speech in Arabic. Her name tag read, Amina, founder of the Rose Foundation. Their eyes met. Daniel's eyes welled with tears. The same girl he once mocked now stood as a symbol of hope for thousands. After the event, Amina approached him with a gentle smile. "You kept your promise," she said. He nodded, whispering, "You taught me more with one rose than I ever learned with all my money." If Amina's story touched your heart, share it to remind others. Never judge someone by their struggle. You never know the language of strength they carry within. Subscribe for more heart-touching stories of kindness, redemption, and humanity.